All right, I think we will get started. So today's topic, elevator testing, the process stack advantage. Anytime release or reduce cycle time, a dream state of any software company would like to achieve. Is it a state possible only those FANG listed companies or the new metaverse? Do you think fragmented tool chain or availability of multiple frameworks becoming a bottleneck? By the way, my name is Ajesh Vishwambaran. I am a quality thought leader with 2 decades of experience in quality engineering, specifically solving real world problems on generative AI products, DevOps, cloud, and system engineering. With me today, we have Emma, a lead quality or customer obsession engineer. Emma, please introduce yourself.
Hi, everyone. As Ajesh mentioned, my name is Emma Melas, and I am a lead customer engineer here at BrowserStack. I am the dedicated customer resource, technical resource for some of our largest enterprise customers.
Thank you, Emma. So, what you are going to do, we are going to uncover how efficiently we can have reduced cycle time with the use of cutting edge solutions from ProcessStack. That's what we're going to do in this coming. So, before we move on, few housekeeping items. The whole session is going to be recorded and it is run for 45 minutes. All participants will be muted. Enable speakers to engage without interruption. The recording will be made available to attendees. There is a dedicated Q&A session at the end. So please use Zoom Q&A with window to cast your votes. Let's move on. Agenda. Right. So QA and testing challenges. The need for a single platform from end-to-end testing. The BrowserStack test platform. Getting started with BrowserStack. BrowserStack versus others. Case study and testimonials. And finally, we'll have detailed Q&A. Let's move on. As we discussed in the beginning regarding the bottlenecks to reach the dream state, what, according to you, are those biggest challenges in your existing testing solution? Is that inadequate test coverage, limited automation capabilities, higher licensing costs, lack of real-time insight into overall testing progress, limited integration with framework? So cast your votes, please. I'll hold it for another 30 seconds. Can we have the poll results? That's interesting. Emma, look at the challenges. They have challenges in inadequate test coverage, limited automation capability. I think that's the biggest challenge.
Yep.
Higher licensing costs.
I see the limited automation capabilities all the time, and it's kind of that differentiating factor of testing on real devices, but then adding in those additional features like Apple Pay, IP geolocation that BrowserStack does have to offer.
Right. Interesting insights. I think in the coming slide, we will see how we can help you out to solve all of these challenges. So I think with assumption, I'm sure the audience is a mix of developer as that. So if you look at the journey of a quality engineer or a tester, you would observe he or she spent her day in terms of planning, create test cases, test scripts, then execute them either manually or automated way, and verify them after all the regression runs. Then there is a good amount of time they spend in identifying the flaky test cases, defect logging, all those things are the part of it. And the final part, after all this one cycle, they need to make sure, is that being optimized where it has happened? Is there a possibility of improvement? So we have a capability in parallel testing and advanced test orchestrations. And if you have a capability to have a selection of test cases, even that could improvise on your test execution time. Finally, this is an overall an iterative process. If you look at after optimizing, then we have something which is on your quality dashboard, which will give you, okay, this is my testing cycle time and all those information. So that's going to be an interesting journey, which they all can learn from. So in the coming slide, we'll be deep dive onto further how these are possible. We can move on. Right. The need of a single platform for end-to-end testing. Now, while we looked at an end-to-end solution or the need of a single platform, what we understood, we wanted our customer to enable the scale their test automation, expand, empower, provide quality insight with connected tool chain that enable tool consolidation. Hence, there is a total cost of ownership. Now, if you further go deeper inside on expand test coverage, right? So having an expanded test coverage, we are going to build confidence, right? In terms of how is the quality? Product quality is going to be increased if you have more confidence on it and reduce leakage. With the different types of testing, we can identify we have covered all functional, cross flows, the real device, visual accessibility and performance, and API testing. So this is an expand test coverage, what we can achieve it. And coming on to the first part, scale test automation. Normal bottleneck we observed in the testing industry is that, and as part of we do, I mean, left shift is a common operation with Agile and DevOps coming in. Test infrastructure become a bottleneck. With introduction of parallel, we helped customers execute their test faster. Now we are building a turbo scale. So you have a capability to run test in maybe in your own cloud, maybe be it AWS, Google, or Azure. So you have a solution, and our software layer will still help you to optimize your test cases and provide insight. What is a failure, or how, what did we fix, all those things. So that helps you in the test case scale automation. Coming to testing and quality insight. So I think even earlier little I mentioned about a quality dashboard and then observability. These two put together is going to give you a view. Are we ready for release? What is your progress of automation? What is your test coverage? All these insights will be there. Now, as part of your regression run, when you execute it on a day-to-day basis, if you're able to understand, we have so many flaky test cases, we have so many test environment issues, but still, if you are able to get an information that this is a specific bug that is causing a major blockage, and if that information or insight we get it from an observability, that's nothing more than that. So your developer and QA will be able to identify and narrow down and fix that issue, and you'll be able to further move fast forward. This will help you to reduce the defect or the cycle time. Now coming to empower all teams. See, actually empower all teams when we uh, thought about it, there is something called organizational maturity. And some of the organization may be in the beginning of their journey into automation, or else they might have a rock solid suite for their automation, or else they will have mixed manual and automation, which is parallelly running around, and they are aspiring to become a good in maturity. So we wanted to help those organizations at any maturity level using our low code, no code to extreme testing. So in any levels, we wanted to help them out. And tools consultant, as I discussed here. So fragmentation is one of the biggest challenge which we observe today, due to which there is a context switching which need to happen. So now with that tool consolidation, there is a good TCO. I mean, total cost of ownership can be achieved. We can move on. Now that's the biggest part. Our BrowserStack test platform. So BrowserStack known for our classic solution for real devices, cross browsers. I'm sure most of you are aware. But from a test platform perspective, what we wanted to achieve, not only we support them in infrastructure, we wanted to provide them a one solution by which you don't have to switch between multiple tools around. Let's give in a first part for us to understand. Is your release ready for a shipment? Or how is the testing quality? Your quality dashboard is going to provide the information. Are you ready for the release? Let's take another example. If our quality dashboard have a capability to tell you what is the maturity of your processes in terms of be it is in terms of having a CACD or is having an automation coverages and having a good cycle time, then we do rank them. Okay, this is your rank. I mean, our quality dashboard have extensive information that will give insight for the executive leadership, and by which they could take a decisions what is the focus area for their coming cycles. That's the one area where quality dashboard is going to help. Then further come down, if you look at test observability, that's a place where go to help most of our testers as that or is the team or developer who runs their own tests. This is the place where you are going to save a lot of time on analyzing the issues. This helps you to classify bugs in terms of it helps you to identify. There is a deep rooted ML technology involved that have a learned self-learning by which it classifies the bug using the log informations and categorize them. Is it the flaky test cases or is it environment issues or the new issue by which your developer or else a QA will be able to go deeper and understand what exactly is the problem. So that's one place where this is going to be a bigger help for the whole quality community. Then comes to test management. How do you understand your test coverage? So now, and that too on a cloud, if you could have your test management suite, you can integrate with your Jira or else your project tracking tools, your traceability from raising bugs till it is being pushed to the PR, the whole information would be available to you in your fingertip. Coming down, we have extensive test web apps, mobile apps, and API solutions, be it for your manual testing, also test automations. And we introduced low code, no code testing that covers many of your functional real device, cross browser, visual, accessibility, performance, and API. And coming down, that's the important piece wherein we are introducing a platform which will help you to get the AI capabilities. Now, let's take an example. Now, we talked about test case management. What if we have a capability to create test cases using your AI? And if AI able to tell, okay, you have written only so much test cases, and you could advise that quality team, you could add more, or else write it by themselves. Isn't that going to be good? So we are building, or we already have those capability right now. So we'll have the more insight on that further. Furthermore, with AI, we wanted to introduce a self-healing. So let's say that in visual testing, if there are some components getting changed, if our AI have the capabilities to understand and modify your test cases, then the failure of your automation won't happen. But still, that is be understood when we have something like that on AI using self-healing. And finally, we have an SDK that can be placed on any code line which you are there. The only thing is you just need to have the BrowserStack SDK installed, and with all this integrated information would be passed on to the quality dashboard, observability, you get all the information, whichever the code, wherever you're running, you'll be able to use our existing tool framework or platform to get the insight. And all these can be executed in our cloud or your cloud, maybe using the new grid automation, or is using our own cloud. So this is where our test platform have a very seamless integration with either CI/CD tools, test automation tools, be any framework what you take. We have an integration, and on team collaboration, it has a very smooth integration on Slack, Team, and on Asana as well as on Jira. Let's move on. So how we are going to solve this very in how we are going to classify our test platform. Basically, we wanted to, while we did our analysis, we understood all our efforts are basically classified into two. One is web testing and app testing. Now, in web testing, we know there is a manual testing, test automation, test management, and optimization and test development. These are the big areas. And we have solutions for all the possible problems what a QA or a dev can face, be it live testing. So cross-browser testing, you wanted to test your applications in multiple versions of your browser, different browsers, and so on. This can be executed at the same time what you execute on one of the particular browser. Accessibility testing, which is a new norm. Most of your website need to be accessible. So there you have a solution which is much easier, and you get an information in a click of actionable items. You'll be able to get the score of your accessibility as well. API testing, test automation. As I already mentioned, we support multiple framework, visual automation. So we have a product called Percy. Now it has been mentioned as a visual automation, wherein in terms of any ERP, all the solutions in terms of e-commerce, visual automation plays a bigger role. The small change which cannot be identified using your eyes can be called by a visual automation tool, and that will give faster, easier for QA and to developer to fix it and test it. Automation grid, we discussed about it. This help you to further enhance your testing and optimize it, run faster. So that concurrency is a bigger achievement. You would be benefited using an automation grid or else a turbo scale. And we have a great solution on accessibility automation. And for AP also, we have an automation available. We discussed on test observability, test management. This is a place where if you have not tried it, being an thought leader in quality, this is going to help you a lot. Your QA will say, wow, this is amazing. I would definitely recommend you guys to try out test observability and test management. And coming on to test development, Nightwatch framework, low code, no code testing. You don't need to have understanding about the code. When you don't need to have detailed coding information, any PM would be able to create test cases. So that's the simplicity we wanted to build. Similarly, most of it, what I discussed in web is available on app with some additional performance testing. For app performance, we have a solution. And on performance automation also, we have a solution. This is something standing out from web testing. So now Emma will help you run your test on BrowserStack Cloud within a minute. Over to you, Emma.
Thank you, Ajesh. So as Ajesh mentioned, what I'm going to walk through is truly how you can seamlessly run your test suite on BrowserStack within minutes, given our lightning fast testing setup and some of those advanced features that are incredibly easy to use. The best part is that we apply to everyone in an organization, whether you are a seasoned QA engineer with decades of experience, or maybe you're new to testing. BrowserStack empowers every individual to run your test scripts efficiently and effectively, which ultimately helps deliver quality and innovation in your own projects. So starting off, one of the most remarkable aspects about BrowserStack is that it requires 0 code changes. So unlike some of our competitor cloud solutions, BrowserStack can seamlessly integrate with your existing scripts right out of the box, which really eliminates that need for tedious modifications or constant updates to those repositories. As mentioned, getting started on BrowserStack is incredibly easy, a 2-step process. The first is going to be installing our BrowserStack SDK. Now, as Ajesh mentioned, this is effectively a wrapper or a dependency that you can add into your project that will automatically manage the connection to BrowserStack for you. It is framework and language agnostic, so you can be sure to onboard any sort of projects into the SDK. The next step is going to be adding that configuration file. The config file helps you define how you want your tests to run on BrowserStack. Now, looking at that diagram, the config file would be in charge of identifying if we wanted to run it on iOS Safari, an Android Chrome device, or maybe even that Windows Firefox browser. but really it is that simple with 2 easy steps. Now, the next portion that I wanted to discuss is truly some of those advanced features that BrowserStack has to offer. One to highlight that I see constantly requested from our customers is going to be BrowserStack Local. Local helps you test those internally hosted environments, maybe those pre-production applications, private backends, assets that are requested or protected by the VPN or firewall. You can test all of those sites and applications on BrowserStack using our local feature. Another advanced feature that I would like to highlight is our advanced parallelization orchestration mechanism. So being able to define how many environments you are kicking off at one time or running in parallel. Now, these again are some of our differentiating factors when compared to our competitors. And going back to that poll from earlier, we see that there is a need for advanced automation capabilities. So if you have any specific questions, feel free to leave them in the Q&A and we can send you dedicated documentation to see all of those kind of capabilities that we can support. Now, if we go now to the next slide, what I want to highlight are a few differentiating factors between BrowserStack and some of the other leading cloud providers. Namely, we offer day 0 device availability, calling out the iPhone 15, the Samsung 24. Those were available for all of our customers to test the day of release. Also, something that I'm consistently asked when giving demos of our product is there a reservation system? No. BrowserStack provides on-demand device delivery to all of our customers. So if you have a need to test that Samsung 24 on a manual or automated session, it is on demand. Now, again, a question that I'm often asked is how can you truly provide that sort of access? And it's because BrowserStack is the leading infrastructure provider. We have over 20,000 real devices and 3,000 different browsers spread across our global data centers, 19 data centers in 13 different locations. What this also means is that we provide extremely fast response time in terms of connecting to devices. So if you have a teammate in the United States versus a teammate in India, they are connecting to the closest available device, which really reduces latency. And what I have heard from customers firsthand is, wow, BrowserStack is really fast. Along those lines is we do have the highest uptime, 99.9% uptime. Those devices are always available for you to use. Now, moving on into some of our other differentiating factors, I would say that we also offer an extremely large amount of session duration. So up to 2 hours of automation sessions on our devices and browsers when compared to our competitors, oftentimes of 90-minute maximum sessions. Now, from the developer experience, we already discussed how easy it is to onboard onto the SDK, but moving into more of the support aspect, our customer service and support truly ensures that you receive assistance within 6 hours. And oftentimes we exceed our own SLAs and provide feedback within as low as 30 minutes, which helps ensure that if you have a problem, we are moving towards a resolution as quickly as possible. In contrast, most of our competitors offer a complicated tier support SLAs with base plans oftentimes guaranteeing 24 hours of response. So think of all the developer and time lost waiting for answers, where BrowserStack support and customer engineers like myself will help onboard you and make sure that you're using the product effectively. So in conclusion, the BrowserStack advantage is clear: unparalleled device availability, instant access to all of these real devices, high uptime, speed, transparency, intelligent issue detection. The list goes on, but you can be confident that you have the support that you need when moving on to BrowserStack. Now, I know it's great to hear from me, but we do also want to hear from a real customer testimonial who will walk through their experience with BrowserStack.
Now, we simply have more options. We have more functions and features that we can use. Deckers Brands is the owner of several different fashion and sporting brands. Probably the most likely you would know would be UGG and Teva, so major shoe brands. I work in our e-commerce division, so we're focused on the online sales of those various brands. We definitely wanted to transition more into real hardware testing through our automation. And while that was something that Sauce Labs was currently working on, it had not been fully implemented yet. So we were looking for a new partner that already had real hardware integrated with their automation framework and platform. We were missing things when it came to specific types of mobile devices. And there would be a flaw, but we wouldn't find that flaw until it got out into production, and then our customers started reporting those flaws to us. We definitely realized we needed to get ahead of the ball to start doing our own testing on mobile devices so that we didn't have our customers doing our testing for us. That's not the way you want to do it. Such a hassle and such an overhead, such a cost to try to maintain an internal device lab. We're saving that expense and that hassle by using BrowserStack's real devices, and I don't find that they're any different than using them if they were in-house with us. The only difference was it was a lot faster, it was a lot cheaper, and it was a lot easier to get access to. Now, we simply have more options. We have more functions and features that we can use. My guys have more real hardware that they have access to at a moment's notice. And in fact, it's some of those ancillary benefits that have actually sped up and helped our team. We are an entirely remote company now. Our entire organization works from home. It has been fantastic that has been located on the web. We very easily get access to it through the web portal. And when I need to share access to that with other teams outside of the e-commerce division, it has been incredibly simple to set that up and get them access. And I know they've found great benefit in being able to just jump in, grab the hardware that they need from wherever they are in the world. We're going through a multi-year process to transition to a headless microservice architecture. Now, BrowserStack will be a part of that transition because we will be continuing to do our automated testing through them. I think probably the best part about that is that we're going through a very stressful, complex, manpower-intensive transition, and I know I don't need to worry about where I'm going to be doing the testing. I know it's already set up. It's up and running. I know we can point our tests to it no matter what our CI/CD pipeline looks like. No matter what's happening, we can always point our tests to BrowserStack and run them there. And we will continue to do so. So that's probably the best thing about it is I don't have to worry about it.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And I think going back into wanting to share a few more of the stories from our real customers, what we're also going to show is now a few actual reviews that we've seen when compared to some of the other competitors that we come across. Now, I'm not going to read these for you, but I am going to highlight a few of the key terms that I see in each of these reviews. Starting in the top left, that 5-star review regarding BrowserStack as the best. Moving over to the right-hand side, saying that it is quick and easy to deploy. Going back to that idea, of course, of that SDK, getting onboarded in minutes. Now, moving to the bottom left-hand side, you can see that we are a polished product. Customers with BrowserStack are not encountering as many bugs or delays. Back to that idea that we mentioned before of having the largest infrastructure, being able to provide devices in a timely fashion to our customers. And then the final review, we can see that the issues of support and the products that you are experiencing with BrowserStack is much higher with our competitors. Again, with those SLAs, actually getting responses from our support team or your customer engineers like myself in order to resolve issues. We go to the next slide. And here we just wanted to kind of promote a partnership that we recently announced, which is between WebDriver.io and BrowserStack. And so with this new partnership, we are giving exclusive 3 months of free subscription to the Test Observability Pro product. Now, Ajesh had touched on observability, but really, again, what this is a tool for really useful debugging insights and reporting. So I'm actually going to paste a message in the chat box for everyone just so everyone has the link if they want to access that 3-month free subscription of test observability.
So I think let me pick up. Manisha asked about how can I exactly elevate my testing using BrowserStack? So I think that's an interesting question. So basically, the elevation part on your testing. So if you're an organization which understand the cycle time, so that's the place where having an cohesive and having a test platform which is connected and integrated, talking to each other, having a handshake. You don't have to middle with multiple tools to understand where did we go wrong and how did we get things right. All those informations, if that is being handled using a test platform, then your journey towards getting it faster and having more quality. For example, now coming on to the elevation part, how can you elevate? For example, one it could be that faster debugging. Second part, it could be faster execution. Then let's say the third part could be then having a best coverage which you could have it, right? So I think these all are possible using our test process tech test platform. So I think with that you would be able to elevate. For example, if I mentioned in my first part of the slide, which I talked about anytime release, right? So in anytime release, if you wanted to have it, there are a lot more pieces which I explained in the first page: continuous release, continuous testing, continuous deployment, lot more. So, and most of the organization uh, have a challenge is in terms of the testing part. And the process stack test platform is a solution. You don't have to go anywhere outside to get a solution, because that's going to reduce the time on debugging and getting the right insight and to make corrective actions. And your executive need not go anywhere else. You have a dashboard which says, okay, this is how am I doing in terms of the product readiness, or how is the quality is coming? Is the automation coverage right? So all those things are well explained and in one place it is there. So with that, you will be able to elevate it. All right. So the next part. So, am I want to pick something here? Let me read the other
Yeah,
one
I've
now.
been answering a few of them in the Q&A, or trying to provide documentation. So it looks like Venkatesh is answering a little bit more about tutorials and learning resources. But just to mention that to the group as well, documentation is provided on BrowserStack's website. We have a really helpful search function. So what I like to do is whenever I am looking for a particular feature, or if I have a question, searching browserstack.com is the best place to start. And that will take you to relevant documentation for maybe the product that you're looking for, whether it is manual or automation. Let's see if we
Right.
can answer another one. I know
So
that there was.
maybe one thing I'll pick it up. Stephen was asking about the problem on Xcode, right? So
Mhm.
Stephen, if you could let you know what is the challenge you have it. Probably this isn't sufficient for me to provide an insight. So if you could reach out to our support, definitely you will get a solution. We already have a solution which could help you on the Xcode problem. So do reach out to our support, and our team will help you to get that answered. Are you going to improve for AppPM or automation on BrowserStack? Probably you'll have to let us know what is the pain area, and we are. And so I think the best part about the BrowserStack is the support and the customer engineering on in terms of onboarding. Where are the challenges you face? I think you won't get it anywhere else. So our support team will help you, guide you, and onboard in such a way that your entry or the journey in through the browser stack is going to be seamless. So please,
And it,
please reach out to them.
yeah, and adding to that, kind of improving the Appium experience that you might be used to in a local environment or on simulators, emulators. BrowserStack also does offer plenty of kind of custom capabilities that provide those additional feature set. I know I mentioned before, but think of this as Apple Pay, IP geolocation, device passcode. I know there was a question for offline support. All of that would be captured and kind of added upon your Appium experience as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Trying to look at the unanswered when running Cypress test on browser stack or per se, we got only rather limited selection of devices on test desktop versus this is the expanded onto mobile devices.
So
Uh,
I
yeah,
can
please.
answer that one. So with Percy, we now kind of have two different lanes of integrating with your testing. Now, one is going to be that traditional Percy SDK that you probably are already familiar with. Now, that is going to be a preset kind of group of browsers, desktop browsers, and we recently added mobile devices. Now, you mentioned Cypress. This is really interesting because Cypress as a framework does not have support for mobile, but using Percy and Cypress SDK, you can now test on iOS Safari or Android Chrome real devices. Now, in our roadmap down the line, we also plan on adding Cypress plus Automate plus Percy support, which would open up the entire fleet of BrowserStack devices as well, which is currently available on Selenium based.
Yeah, I think Venkatesh is trying to answer, but the question is if we wanted to verify value from different sites, some formula, yeah, definitely. Even take an example, when our low code, no code itself will be in simplest way to solve this problem. We have that solution that will help you to have a better assertions and validate formula evaluation also can be done. Or else you can have your own test framework to do that, and our infrastructure will help you to validate that. All right. So thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. I really appreciate your time. And once again, see you next time. See you. Bye bye.
Thanks, everyone.